Thank you all for joining us. All right, so let me get started with our actual, the meat of our conference today. We have a lot of information to get through. If you can hold your questions until the end, we'll have a Q&A at the end. If you think of something that you'd like to ask so that you don't forget it, just drop it in the chat. And at the end, I will go through the questions and respond to all of them. So if you have a question, you can just put it in the chat and we'll get to it at the end. And just as a reminder, if everyone can mute their mics unless they're speaking. So this notice of funding availability is going to be approximately $3.5 million of tax increment reinvestment zone bond funds or TERS funds, and it's going to be used to fund a portion of the infrastructure and or the home construction costs. In addition, the selected applicants will be receiving the 12.22 acres of city-owned land located at 10301 Stella Link Road in Houston, Texas. And so throughout this conference, we're going to be explaining a little bit more about that. As some of you are aware, we have published a similar NOFA previously for the Stella Link project, but the difference is it's the funding source, and there are some other differences that we'll discuss today. So just because maybe you attended a previous application conference, make sure you sit through this one as well, because a lot of things have changed. So I want you to make sure you get all the information. Okay. So I'll start with the schedule. The NOFA was issued on Friday, June 6th. Today we're having the pre-application conference, and the question submittal deadline is July 3rd. So that means that if you have a question that comes up as you're reviewing the solicitation and the attached documents, please submit that question by 5 p.m. on July 3rd, and you will receive a response shortly, probably the following week, so that you can properly meet that July 15th deadline for the application. And those questions are always published via a letter of clarification, which I will discuss later in the presentation. Okay, I'm going to pass it off to my colleague, Devon.
Devon, we're unable to hear you.
Hold on one second. She's going to come over here.
Okay, so for the 2025 Stella Link NOFA, the objective is to seek a qualified developer to maximize 12.22 acres of land by developing mixed income affordable housing units. The homes must be priced affordably for low to moderate income homebuyers, up to 120% of the area median income. The city seeks to convey land and a potential forgivable loan for infrastructure and or home construction to a qualified developer. The Stella Link site is approximately 12.22 acres. It has a transit-oriented development site located alongside Stella Link Road near South Main Street, east of Willow Bend Boulevard, with superior access to major highways, including Loop 610, 288, and I-59, near the downtown Houston and Medical Center, as well as Myoland Plaza. Here you will see the survey analysis, which outlines the actual 12.22 acres. This survey will be available to in the NOFA site for the applicants. The city will provide a site noise assessment. This project will require a noise attenuation, and a noise attenuation will be required. So this particular assessment and the results will be available as well within the NOFA application. This is a sample of a preliminary design displaying the layout of 100+ units. The city is seeking a developer to maximize this land with the capacity to design and construct a community of affordable housing units.
So the eligible project criteria, the affordable homes must be of equivalent size, quality, materials, and finishes as the market rate homes. Project development to include single-family detached homes of mixed income levels. Affordable homes built, marketed, and sold to households up to 120% AMI. Can everyone hear us okay? We're hearing some feedback that maybe the audio is not as good. If you could just type in the chat. Oh, we got a thumbs up, so I think it's going okay. Thanks. HCD will verify incomes based on current year HUD income limits, which we will also discuss those later in the slide deck.
Okay, so the annual HUD income limits will be available. It is updated every year. And currently we will be using the 2025 AMI chart.
And this will also be available with the other application documents at the NOFA site on our website.
The long term will be awarded to be structured as a developer loan agreement for the purpose of constructing infrastructure for the development of single family homes for sale to LMI homebuyers.
So we have a couple of threshold items. And when we talk about threshold items, these are items that you must meet in order to move to evaluation. So if you are unable to provide documentation to substantiate these threshold items, then your application will not be evaluated. So it's very important that you read these carefully, and that if you have any questions, you submit those to the HCD_NOFA at HoustonTX.gov email address, which I will put on a later slide. But I'm going to go over those threshold items so that you understand what's being asked. Number one, the developer must not be debarred, suspended, or otherwise excluded from or ineligible from participating in federally, state, or locally funded programs. So that's 3 different debarments you can think of: 1 federal, 2 state, and 3rd local, like City of Houston. And so when we're asking from you on that point is your SAM.gov registration. And then for the states and the local funding, we will verify that on our end. So if you can provide your SAM.gov registration showing that you're not debarred, that will meet their criteria on your end. And then on my end, I'll check for state and local. The developer will not receive funding if it is not current with taxes due to the city, delinquent loans with the city, or if the organization is not in good standing with the city. So what I need from you on that point is a signed attestation that you are in good standing with the city, and we'll fact check that on our end. So just a written attestation that you're in good standing with the city, current taxes, no delinquent loans. The 3rd requirement is a certificate of account status from the Texas Comptroller. There is a website that you can visit to get that. It is in the actual solicitation document, has that website. The number 4 only applies to nonprofit organizations. We'll need your current 501c3 tax exempt status from the IRS. And then finally, the developer must provide evidence of completed projects within the last 10 years. Developer must have successfully completed a minimum of 300 single-family housing units and develop projects consisting of infrastructure and utility service. So what we'd like to see for this one, I find that it's easier to submit it in kind of a, Excel formula, or you can do it whichever way you want. It's probably a little easier to read if you just have a list of all the projects that you've done over the past 10 years. In the solicitation, it breaks it down, asks you to put the number of units, the year completed, the funding source, if they were affordable, things of that nature. So again, the solicitation goes into a little bit more detail about what the document would look like that you submitted for that one. But in general, we're looking at your past projects over the 10 years, and we're looking for that minimum of 300 single-family housing units and experience developing projects that consist of infrastructure and utility services.
And Lindsay, I would like to add,
Sure.
that could be combined if there is a team effort or multiple folks that are coming together to develop this site. We would look at the combination of 2 companies, 3 companies, or whatever the partnership agreement is.
Yeah, that's a good point. In your application, please just make it clear that it is a partnership so that we can clearly see, like, okay, these 2 companies are coming together to develop this together, and this is what the relationship is. Usually that's kind of present in maybe your org chart, but if it's not clear in the org chart, just in the actual application itself, in the narrative, you can discuss like what that relationship looks like. Also, so you passed the threshold, you've moved to the scoring phase. These are the criteria that you're going to be graded upon. There's a maximum of 153 points. We have development experience and capacity, financial feasibility, project information, affordability and marketing strategy, and finally meeting the community needs. So this is a broad overview of the point structure. In the solicitation document, it breaks down each of these criteria and what we're looking for inside that criteria. So please make sure you're looking through that document thoroughly and understanding what's being asked to receive maximum points for each of those. And again, please take advantage of the question period if you have any questions about the scoring criteria and need more further explanation. Okay, from there, I'm going to jump over, and I do want to say that because there's a switch in funding sources, some of the requirements on our end has changed. So I want to just make sure people realize that this is now a tourist funded project and some of the requirements will be different. So just make sure that you understand that. All right, Lakeisha, do you mind going through the MSWBE requirements?
Yes, thank you so much, Lindsay. So good morning, everyone. I am Lakeisha Tate, the Administration Manager with the Housing Community Development Contract Compliance Area. I will be providing the City of Houston Minority Women Small Business Enterprise and the City of Houston's Pay or Play compliance requirements for the Stella Link NOFA presentation this morning. We'll get into the Minority Women Small Business Enterprise, which is known as the MWSBE. The MWSBE program requirements is governed by 2 CFR 85.36 and the City of Houston's Chapter 15 Ordinance Article 5. Express purpose is to promote the growth and success of MWSBEs. The MWSBE program requirements for the construction award under the Stella Link NOFA is advertised with a 29% MWBE goal, which the breakdown is 21% should be demonstrated with utilizing minority business enterprise firms, and 8% demonstrated with utilizing women business enterprise firms. MBE and WB goals are two separate goals that must be met individually. Only 4% SBE can be used to meet either the MBE and or WBE goal, but both cannot get 4%. So for example, if you fall short of the 21% or the 8%, you are allowed to use up to 4% SBE substitution to meet those separate goals. Currently, MWBE primes are allowed to meet advertised goals by self-performing up to 50% of the total contract goals. So MBEs will be allowed to choose which goal they would like to receive credit for on this construction project. It will be either the MBE or the WBE goal. Once a goal type for the participation is selected, the MWBE prime participation credit will be capped at the proposed percentage or the approved goal, whichever one is lower. The prime contractor shall make good faith efforts to award these subcontracts or supply agreements to MWSBEs to achieve the 29% goal requirement. Please keep in mind that only firms certified through the City of Houston Office of Business Opportunity can be used to meet the 29% goal requirements. For more information about the City of Houston MWSBE certification process and to review the online certified directory, which has over 6,500 qualified certified MWSBE firms, please visit houston.mwbe.com. Next slide, please. So here we have that's required on this development will be the City of Houston's Pay or Play program. The Pay or Play program, which is governed by the Executive Order 1 through 7, and its purpose for the City of Houston is to require certain contractors to provide certain employees with the minimum level of health care benefits, or you will contribute a designated amount to be used to offset costs for providing health care to uninsured people in the Houston and Harris County area. Next slide. So the City of Houston Pay or Play program applies to professional services, construction, and service type contracts, where the contracts for services in which the total expenditure by the city, including your contingencies, amendments, supplemental terms, and or contract change orders, equal or exceed $100,000 for the prime, and for your subcontracts for services, which the total value of your subcontract, including contingencies, amendments, supplemental terms, and change orders, equals or exceed $200,000. The contractor will be responsible to the city for compliance of covered employees of covered subcontractors as well. Next slide. So, an employee covered by the City of Houston's Pay or Play program pertains to an employee of a covered contractor or subcontractor, including your contract laborers who are over the age of 18, work at least 30 hours per week with that company, and any amount of time worked on a covered city contract or subcontract will be considered a covered employee. Next slide. So if you have a contractor who elects to comply by paying, the contractor will pay to the city $1 for each hour work performed by covered employees within a 40-hour work week, including covered employees of covered subcontractors on a city contract. All payments to the city shall be deposited into a contractor responsibility fund, which this fund is used for no other purpose than to assist in providing health care services to uninsured people in the Houston and Harris County area. Next slide. If the contractor elects to comply by plane, the contractor will provide documentary proof in a form acceptable to HCD that it provides healthcare benefits to each covered employee and that the covered employee of covered subcontractors are provided healthcare benefits as well. The healthcare benefits must meet or exceed the city standard, which includes the employee contributing no less than 75% of the total premium cost per covered employee per month toward the total premium cost. And the covered employee contributes, if any amount, no greater than 25% of the total monthly premium cost. And this is for single coverage only. So if you need any further clarification or guidance regarding the city's Pay or Play program, forms, or related updates, you can always visit www.houstontx.gov/OBO/popforms.html. This concludes the contract compliance portion as it relates to the City of Houston Minority Women Small Business Enterprise and the Pay or Play program requirements. I'd like to thank you all for your time, and we're excited about the opportunity to collaborate with you all.
Thank you, Lakeisha. Next, we have our complaints and appeals team. We have Stefan Loston, who will be presenting.
How y'all doing? So like she just said, I'm Stefan Loston. I'm one of 4 members that make up the complaints and appeals team. And I'm gonna just give y'all just a general gist of what we do within the department. Next slide. So a breakdown of each category. So what can you complain about? So in regards to complaints, you can complain about anything in regards to ACDD operations. So if, the time frame that someone, told you from the program area doesn't, if it's past that time frame, and you need, a status update, you can always reach out to us. If for whatever reason you can't reach the program area, we can reach out to the program area on your behalf. If it's something that you're not clear about and you're not able to reach out to the program area, we can also help with that. If you feel that there's any conflict of interest going on within your process, that's another, just a general example, but it's no, yes or no to what a complaint is, but our doors are always open. If you think, that is a complaint, then hey, come on. But most of the time it might just be an inquiry. And in that case, you can reach out to the program area directly. But again, if you can't reach the program, we're always here to help try to coordinate that conversation. So time frame with complaints, if we do have a complaint that we have to open on your behalf, then we typically respond within 15 days. It's normally shorter than that, but it's all dependent on when we get that information and also the complexity to your complaint. In regards to appeals, you can only appeal a program determination. And with that being said, you can only appeal once a determination has been made on your account. So let's be mindful of what the difference is between a complaint and appeal is. You can only appeal once a determination has been made. So an example of an appeal would be for if you were denied services, if there's something with the procedure and you feel like the procedures and how the determination was made, you can always appeal. That the program area and the appeal review committee normally takes about 30 to 45 days to provide a response to your appeal. One thing I missed about the complaints is that you cannot file a complaint during the NOFA's no contact period. So the program area explained to you when the no contact period is, and just know that you can't file a complaint during that period. Next slide, please. So just some basics on filing a complaint or appeal. So who can file a complaint? So any member of the general public can file a complaint, and also a program participant. So there's a complaint is, a pretty broad arena. So when it comes down to those complaints, any member of the public or any participating member can file a complaint. And when it comes down to an appeal, only program participants can file an appeal. Again, once a determination has been made, but any member of the public can just file an appeal because, of course, they wouldn't have gotten a determination. So when we say program participants, that includes anyone from the applicant themselves, a developer, contractor, agency, bidders, vendors, or subrecipients. And so just some basics that we would need for a complaint or appeal, just so we can, efficiently get you the information and properly document that the transaction happened. We would need your first and last name, your address, the project number if you have it, your phone number, and your preferred method of contact, and more importantly, the reason for your complaint or appeal. Next slide, please. So just some more details on appeals. When it comes down to appeals, there's 3 appeal levels. The first appeal level is the tier 1 appeal level. That's when we the program area make a determination. You don't agree with the determination. We send that tier 1 appeal to the program area and say, hey, can you take another look at this? We think the recipient may have think that error was done. Can you re-review or and everything like that? And then again, they would take 30 to 45 days to re-review their original determination. If you further disagree with the determination, let's just say your tier 1 got denied and you further disagree, you can always file a tier 2 appeal, and that's when it will come to my particular team. And my particular team, we would spearhead a meeting with some random individuals within the department just to hear a more open conversation about what exactly is going on with your file, and then another determination is made. Of course, all of this is in alignment with the policies, guidelines, and SOPs that we all have to follow, but it's just another layer and some fresher eyes on everything that goes on, and we would see exactly what happened and see if the decision needed to be overturned or if the program area was indeed correct with their decision. When it comes down to appeals, all appeals have to be in writing, and they must be filed within 5 days after you have received your award determination. You only have 5 days to file your appeal in writing if you wish to appeal. We normally provide an acknowledgement receipt within 1 business day after receiving the appeal. And you also, I would suggest that you provide any supporting documentation for your appeal within those 5 days, but preferably with your appeal. That way they can, start and hit the ground running with all the information that you have to provide. And yeah, again, they normally give you a determination within 45 days. Next slide, please. All right, and that's just some information of how you could contact us. You can reach us by the hotline. You can email us directly, or you come visit us on the 9th floor as well. If you have any questions, I think they say they're doing a Q&A. You can ask those questions at that time. Thank you.
Thanks, Stefan. So now I want to talk about how to access the NOFA, and also then I'm going to talk about how to submit it. So we are moving to a little bit of a different system this go around. So if you've ever submitted an application before, this time it will be different. So the first thing you need to do is visit the website at the top of the screen, houstontx.gov/housing/funding.html #NOFA. From this site, you'll see right here this featured NOFA describing the Stella Link NOFA, and also below the paragraph, you'll see View NOFA. If you click that link, it's going to take you to Beacon Bid, and in Beacon Bid, they will have the NOFA and all of the corresponding documents there. So you can see there the attachments. When you click that you're interested in this document, you will be asked to register. So I'm going to move forward because I think that goes into my next piece, which is submitting a application. Okay, so when you go into Beacon Bid, there's a little blue square at the top of the screen that says get on the interest list. When you click that, it asks you to register for an e-bid submission. So this is the only way that you're going to be able to download the application package. So you register. It asks, some basic name, your company, email address, what you're interested in. So if you are interested in other opportunities with the City of Houston, not just housing, but the City of Houston in general, you can put it there in the interest and you will receive emails based on that interest. Say it's in construction, single family residential construction. You can put that there and you will get emails for funding opportunities with the city. So this is good to know in general, not just for this NOFA, but for doing business with the city in general. After you register, an email will be sent to you. You open the email and it will say, download the package, which is all the documents that you need. And then it will also say, submit your response. So first, download the package so you have all the forms that you need, the application workbook, the checklist, the whole entire, the solicitation itself, everything will be there in a zip file. And then when you're ready to submit, that's when you click submit your response. Let me show you what it looks like when you go into, when you're ready to complete, to actually submit the application, you hit the submit response. It'll ask you for your contact information. Make sure that is current so that we know exactly how to reach you. We do have what we call a cure period in our NOFA. So let's say you accidentally submitted the wrong form or you submitted an incorrect document, an unsigned form. I will need to reach you to have that corrected during the cure period. So make sure the email address and the phone number that you put in there is going to be manned during the time that we're reviewing the applications. So just make sure that someone's checking that if we need to reach out to you regarding the application. The next thing it's going to ask is for application documents. So the application documents are what I talked about a little bit earlier, the threshold requirements, also the application workbook, and then the application content and project narrative. That is your, the meat of your application. And all of this can be found on your application checklist, which when you download that application package, it'll have, I think it's attachment 1, is application checklist. And it tells you every single thing that you need to submit with your application. So when you go down that application checklist, you can just mark it off as you have it. And then when you get to this screen, you'll start putting the documents into the system here. And if you'll notice, in parentheses, I have which item it is on the checklist so that okay, they're asking for this piece of documentation. It's on the checklist number 2. So you go down the checklist, each piece that you have, you upload here. It will not let you submit until you upload a document there. So just to know, if for some reason, all the pieces are required, but if for whatever reason you don't have something or it's not applicable to you, you can just submit a PDF that is not applicable. But by and large, everything should be applicable on this one. It then moves to a required forms. I will say that the agreement and certification form needs to be notarized. So just make sure you give yourself time to do that. And then I think there's 4 required forms here that you'll need to complete. And then it'll have a button I don't think I have a screenshot for that, but it'll say, you know, I verify that everything's correct, and you submit. So some tips. Start early. Do not wait until the last minute because there's a lot of pieces. So just make sure you have all those pieces together before you go in to try to upload everything. The good thing is you can revise your application at any time before the due date. So let's say you go in, you submit. It's not July 15th yet, it's July 11th, and you realize, hey, actually, I should have put this other thing in there that would help my score. You can go back into the system, withdraw your application, make the changes, and resubmit. So that's a really awesome thing that's kind of changed with the system that gives you that, you know, flexibility to go back into your application and make those tweaks. Please follow the correct file formats. So the application workbook is the document. It's an Excel file that will be part of your package, your document package, and it asks for your applicant information. It asks for your sources and your uses. And it also asks for your homes mix. So, you know, your affordability levels, your, you know, designs, how many bedrooms you're doing, and your price points. That is a very critical piece to this application. And if it's not submitted, your application may not be considered complete. So that will be in Excel. Everything else should be submitted in PDF. When we're talking about the application content and project narrative, which again is on the checklist, that should be in one PDF. Each section should be on a new page, and you should include PDF bookmarks to each section. Make sure before you are finalizing your application that you go to the scoring, again, located in the solicitation, and that you double check that you've responded to each scoring criteria. That's how you're going to guarantee that you get the best score that you can, is that you read carefully the scoring criteria and make sure that you respond to each thing. Make sure that you have your threshold documentation. Again, if you don't have that documentation, you risk not moving forward to the evaluation phase. Be clear and concise, stick to the point and avoid unnecessary content. And then also, I want to talk about letters of clarification. So when there's a question submitted before the question deadline, what I do is I take that question and the response and I put it in a letter of clarification. That letter of clarification will be uploaded with the other documents at that solicitation link on Beacon Bid. So make sure and if you clicked that Get Interested button, you're going to receive notifications if anything changes to the solicitation. So when I upload a letter of clarification, you will get an email that says, you know, there's been a change to the solicitation, a new document has been uploaded. So make sure you review those letter of clarifications before you submit your application, because they are considered part of the solicitation. So you are responsible for reading them and adjusting your application based on what's in the letters of clarification. All communication must be sent in writing to hcd_NOFA@houstontx.gov. I man that email as well as my supervisor, Jamila Glover. So somebody will at all times be checking that email and will respond to you. We ask that you do not directly contact the program area. And by program area, we mean the single family team with regard to this NOFA. And then there's usually 3 business days to correct any deficiencies. When we talk about deficiencies, we mean non-material. So we're not going to let you, let's say you submitted your narrative and you didn't feel like it was very good and you want to change it, you can't do that. But if you missed a form, if you got to sign a form, anything that's non-material, so it wouldn't change your score, we do give a cure period of 3 days for that. And I will contact you directly if there's anything that needs to be cured. So going alongside what I just said about not contacting the program area, that's all part of our quiet period or our no contact period. So the applicant or any person acting on the applicant's behalf is not allowed to attempt to influence the outcome of the award by offer, presentation, promise of gratuities, favors, or anything of value to any appointed or elected official or employee of the city, their families, or staff members. So it's not just the program area, it's city council members, it's anyone. You should not be found to trying to influence the decision. all inquiries should go to the city representative, which is that email that I just explained to you. That would be our procurement team, myself or Jamila. With the exception of the applicant's formal response to solicitation and written request for clarification during the period officially designated for such purpose by the city representative, neither applicant nor person acting on their behalf shall communicate with any appointed or elected official or employee of the city, their families or staff, or written and oral means in attempt to persuade or influence the outcome. So that's exactly what I just said. You can contact people at the city especially if you're already doing business with the city, but it cannot be in any way an attempt to sway the decision. However, nothing shall prevent an applicant from making public statements to the city council convened for a regularly scheduled session after the official selection has been made and placed on city council agenda. All right. Let's move to questions and comments. Does anyone have a question? And I'll also check the chat.
Yeah, hi. This is Harry Klein with Cole Klein Builders. How are you today?
Good.
I do have a real quick question. So we've worked with the city on a couple of projects here recently. For the platting and the engineering side of this, will we be able to utilize your fast track program that was offered with your AHDP program? Or will this be going through regular channels for submission purposes? Thank you.
The answer is yes. We will use the expedited process for the selected developer.
Thank you.
I'm going to read one of the questions from the chat. Can I use my commercial past performance on this project, or does it all have to be residential projects? I'll let somebody in single family answer that.
I guess the clarifying question would be, is what are you considering commercial? Are you talking about the development of multifamily housing? Or are you talking about development of office buildings?
Okay. That kind of goes to the next one. Someone's asking, like, are we able to use our multifamily experience including current LITHC deals that HCD may be a part of? Cedric, thoughts on if they can use their multifamily experience?
In particular, we're not looking for multifamily developers. We're looking for someone that's going to be able to build single family housing. So we will not consider experience in multifamily.
Okay, and the previous question they clarified, it was for the commercial properties, it's office buildings. I think you just answered that basically, right? Just we're looking for single family.
That's correct.
And then is this just for builders and agents? Can the person who submitted that clarify what they mean by that? Okay. Well, what we're looking for is a developer to build, single family homes. So whatever that looks like, as Cedric mentioned previously, we are allowing it to be it could be two builders coming together to do this together. We are open to cooperation, but yeah, we are looking for a developer.
Yeah. So, and to clarify and piggyback on that, Lindsay, because there's a number of folks that are attending this pre-conference, if combined experience can allow for multiple builders to work together, that's what we encourage.
Yeah. 6 people have raised their hand. Is that Jamias Whitaker?
Hey, yes, ma'am. Jamias Whitaker. Good morning. How you guys doing today?
Good.
Yes, my question would be for I did come in a little tardy. You guys did mention that I can partner up with builders or developers that do have like 10 plus years of experience, but I will be a first time developer. But I was just trying to see if that would be okay as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome.
Someone also put in the chat, what do I click on once I'm on this page? I can't find the application package. Yvonne put a screen print of the attachments. The application workbook is under that eBid attachments. And so there's a link on or button that says download package. It might only download the attachments at the top, which are the NOFA documents itself that you need to review.
No, it should do all of them.
It'll do all of them?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that, Lindsay.
Yeah, it should. And if you have any if you get into the application and you need assistance, even if it's after the question period, you just need assistance actually submitting the application, please reach out to me and I can walk you through that process. Okay, we have one more question. Harry?
Yeah, hi, me again. What is the expected completion timeline for the entire project? What are y'all wanting it to see completed by?
So we will work with the developer as we know that there's going to be a phase for replatting of the property. So there is not a set timeline. We will establish that with the actual contract.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Is there any, let me check the chat again. Is there any other questions? So like I said, if you have any questions that come up, please email me hcd_NOFA, NOFA at houstontx.gov, and we will get those answers to you. We appreciate you all joining us, and we look forward to seeing your applications.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.